Welcome back to the Lore Loom, where we turn powerful books into simple stories you'll actually remember. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We share a new story every day. Today's story is about a young chef who cooked the most amazing meal of his life. Everyone cheered for him, but his boss didn't. And what happened next changed his whole future. Our story begins with a young chef named Nico. Nico worked at the Golden Spoon, a very famous restaurant in the city. He was a pastry chef, which meant he made all the delicious cakes, cookies, and fancy desserts. Nico loved his job more than anything. He was always trying new ideas, making desserts that looked like art and tasted like magic. His big dream was to become the head chef of the Golden Spoon one day. The head chef was a man named Mr. Dubois. Mr. Dubois was very respected and ran the kitchen like a perfectly oiled machine. He was good at his job, but also a bit old-fashioned and very proud of his restaurant's long history. One day, a huge announcement came. The city was hosting its annual food festival, and the Golden Spoon was chosen to host a special dessert showcase. Nico's heart leaped. This was his big chance to show everyone what he could do. Mr. Dubois was busy with other parts of the festival, so he told Nico to take charge of the dessert showcase. Nico spent weeks planning. He invented incredible new recipes, mixed amazing flavors, and designed desserts that looked like tiny, edible sculptures. He worked late every night, perfecting every single detail. Finally, the night of the showcase arrived. The restaurant was packed with important food critics, famous chefs from other places, and many excited guests. Nico felt a mix of nerves and pure joy as he put out his creations. When the doors opened, everyone rushed to the dessert tables. People gasped. They took photos, tasted, and then tasted again. "These are amazing," one critic exclaimed. "Never seen anything like it," said another. Everyone wanted to meet the genius behind the desserts. Nico stood there, beaming, soaking in all the praise. He felt like he was finally flying high. But then, Nico glanced over at Mr. Dubois. The head chef was standing in the background, near a pillar, watching the crowd gather around Nico. He wasn't smiling. His face was still and quiet. A tiny shiver went down Nico's spine, but he quickly shook it off. This was his moment, right? The next morning, Nico walked into the restaurant, expecting congratulations and maybe even a promotion. Instead, Mr. Dubois called him into his office. "Nico," Mr. Dubois began, "your desserts were impressive." But then he continued, "However, I think you're perhaps too much for the Golden Spoon." Nico's stomach dropped. "Too much," he whispered. Mr. Dubois explained that he was looking for a different direction for the pastry department, something more traditional and fitting for the restaurant's image. Nico was told his contract would not be renewed at the end of the month. He was essentially fired. He walked out of the office in a daze. He had worked so hard, created something beautiful, and now it was all gone. Confused and heartbroken, Nico went to visit his old mentor, Lena. Lena was a retired baker who used to work in fancy restaurants herself. Nico poured out his story, trying to understand why his greatest success had led to his biggest failure. Lena listened carefully, her kind eyes watching him. "Nico," she said softly, "sometimes, when you shine too brightly, it can make others feel small, especially those who are supposed to be the sun of the place." She explained that people in charge, like Mr. Dubois, need to feel important and respected, like they are the ones leading the way. "You made wonderful desserts, Nico," she said. "But did you make Mr. Dubois look wonderful too?" Lena told him that instead of just showing off his own talent, he needed to find ways to make his boss shine even brighter. Nico thought about Lena's words for days. They made sense, but it felt strange. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. The Golden Spoon had a last-minute booking for a very important private dinner. The guest was a famously strict food critic, and Mr. Dubois was very stressed about it. Nico, still working his last few weeks, saw an opportunity. He approached Mr. Dubois, not with a finished dessert, but with a simple sketch of an idea. "Chef Dubois," Nico said, "I have an idea for a dessert, but I really need your wisdom and experience to make it truly special." Mr. Dubois looked surprised. He hadn't expected Nico to ask for help. He took the sketch and offered a few suggestions, adding some of his own classic touches. Nico listened carefully, nodding and writing down every word as if it were pure gold. As he worked on the dessert in the kitchen, Nico made sure to tell the other chefs. Chef Du Bois's vision really brought this dessert to life. He worked hard, but he also made sure Mr. Du Bois was visible, involved, and getting all the credit. On the night of the private dinner, Nico finished the dessert. He then stepped back and let Mr. Du Bois personally present it to the strict food critic. The critic took a bite. His serious face slowly softened into a smile. He praised Mr. Du Bois for the elegant and perfectly balanced creation, saying it honored the restaurant's traditions beautifully. Mr. Du Bois beamed, accepting the praise with a proud nod. The next morning, Mr. Du Bois called Nico into his office again. Nico felt a flicker of worry, but mostly a sense of calm. "Nico," Mr. Du Bois said, a smile on his face, "that dessert last night was truly outstanding. More than that," he continued, "I truly appreciate your teamwork and your understanding of what makes the Golden Spoon special." Mr. Du Bois then offered Nico a new, more senior role as his assistant head chef. Nico accepted, a quiet joy spreading through him. He realized he hadn't dimmed his own light. He had just learned how to shine it on the right person, and in doing so, found his true place in the kitchen. Here's the cool part. The idea behind this whole story comes from a famous book called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Our character is made up, but the lesson is very real. If you like this, the book goes even deeper. Link below. So what did this story teach us? First, remember Nico's dessert showcase. Everyone cheered for him, but his boss stood alone and unsmiling. That moment of too much personal glory almost cost Nico his career. Second, making your boss look good can be more powerful than showing off your own talents. When Nico asked Mr. Du Bois for wisdom and gave him credit, it changed everything. Finally, understanding who holds the real power and helping them feel important can open doors you never expected. What would you have done in Nico's shoes when you saw Mr. Du Bois's face at the festival? Books are long, and let's be honest, most of us don't have time to read them cover to cover. That's why we're here at the Loom, to turn those powerful, big ideas into short, simple stories that actually stick in your mind. So if you want more easy-to-digest wisdom, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next story. Tell us in the comments, which part of Nico's journey hit you the hardest? Was it his heartbreak or his clever comeback? See you in the next story.